I'm from the sound of the crackling fireplace in the house that I grew up. I'm from the smell of salty air and all of the wonderful places that home has to offer. I'm from countless hours spent working on schoolwork and hockey. I'm from a loving community, and I'm from the phrase, do what you love, and whatever that is, put your all into it, that my parents made sure I lived by. Hi, my name is Avi, and I'm this year's athletics prefect, and it's my second year at Appleby. When I was 13, I moved from Nova Scotia to New York, away from my family, in hopes to someday reach my dream of playing in the Olympics with Team Canada. I have a unique relationship with my parents in the sense that I grew up in a household where we were encouraged to chase our dreams no matter what, and my parents would be in full support of whatever my brother and I set out to do. The kindness that my mom radiates brings out the best in people, and the passion that my dad brings to all that he does is why I believe I have the drive that I do and what makes me most resilient. My path to where I am today was anything but linear. I've gotten questions asking, how do you get to playing junior hockey? Or, what is the path to get to the U18 national team? And I have to come up with some educated answer to make it seem like I know what I'm doing. From a young age, I traveled all over North America and Europe for hockey tournaments in hopes to move away one day to further my education and athletics. I say that casually. It was anything but. I remember the 20-hour car rides to New England and further just for showcases, the time my parents had to take off work just to drive me, and sitting in freezing cold rinks during hours of the morning that shouldn't be allowed. But they did it all with a smile on their face because they wanted nothing more than for me to be happy and pursue my dreams. I always used to think about how I am going to grow up and someday repay my parents, but I realized that the amount of love and time that they put into me is not something that can be repaid. It is just something that is to be cherished and grateful for throughout my life. Both of my parents have had a significant positive influence on my life. Not only have they cared for me in the most loving way, but they have taught me so many valuable lessons that have enabled me to develop into the person I am today. Throughout my 17 years, I have made my fair share of mistakes. My parents have allowed me to make these mistakes and learn from them. They never forced me down one path. They let me set out to do what I want, and if I fell along the way, they would always help me up. Having this guidance has provided me with not only a healthy relationship with them, but also a strong understanding of trust. They have allowed me to grow. They have taught me that in order to pursue a dream, there are significant sacrifices that have to be made to reach those goals. They've taught me that losses can be more valuable than wins if you're able to learn from failure. They have taught me that you can't cheat your way to success. You must work for your achievements. The list goes on. I'm going to share a story that hits close to home from the first semester that I moved away in grade 9. As I mentioned before, I was 13. I left my parents, my dogs, my best friends, and my hometown. I was very excited to start a new chapter of my life, as anyone would be. The first few weeks in New York at this hockey school were amazing, which I soon came to realize was the honeymoon stage. As the first few months of school got underway, I began to have a hard time finding positives in my day. Going to the rink didn't make me as happy anymore. I didn't have the same drive in school. The gym brought me no joy like it once did. And worst of all, I couldn't see my parents when I was feeling all of these emotions. I began to wonder if pursuing this dream was worth it, and seriously considered quitting the sport that had given me so many opportunities throughout my life. When I would sit with my thoughts, I told myself it was just a phase, and I would snap out of it quickly. I learned to put my feelings aside and work on the task at hand, which was doing well in school, getting stronger in the gym, and developing my game on the ice. The 5 a.m. workouts, skates, off-ice skills sessions, and late nights working on schoolwork was still not enough to fill this black void that had come over me. Through all of that, I believe that's where I started to lose my love for hockey. The so-called game that I started when I was a little girl didn't feel like a game anymore. It was a job, but it wasn't a fun job like it should be. As my grade 9 year went on, and I pushed these feelings aside, I was able to find more joy in hanging out with my friends, and always looked forward to going home for breaks. I'd always talk to my parents about what I was feeling, and they would reassure me that as time passed, I would feel better. That helped, and in the end was true. I tried my absolute best to focus on how many opportunities I was given and those that were yet to come. I went through my grade 10 year, but I decided that it was not the place for me, and I knew I could thrive elsewhere. I could not be more thankful for this experience because I was able to grow through these times. I learned about the importance of looking at the bigger picture, which is easier said than done. This then brought me to Ontario, where I've been able to flourish during my time spent here. There are so many little things that I get to cherish every day here at Appleby, whether that is in the classroom, playing sports, or all the little things in between. I also believe that life is not all sunshine and rainbows, and everyone is bound to go through these hardships sooner or later, and I can assure you that you are not alone. Last year, when I was first considering applying for a leadership position, I remember having a conversation with my dad, and I said, well, what do I have to offer? People think I play hockey 24/7. And I feel like that was when I finally started to open up my eyes to all of the other things that I bring to the table. Is it not better to take a chance on something that could open up new paths, as opposed to wondering what could have been if you had tried out something new? That's called growth. I used to be terrified of growth in certain aspects. Why? Because it was always displayed as this huge, life-changing thing that was supposed to happen at some point. But I was really good at doing what I was comfortable with. It took me a lot of time to gain confidence in my abilities and what I brought to the table, which is why I can say now that stepping outside of your comfort zone is bound to create new opportunities. When I think about this conversation, my dad told me that there's only one of you. There's only one Abby. Be the absolute best Abby that you can be and use all of your strengths to your advantage. I feel as though my first few years of high school, I lacked the confidence and awareness of what I had to offer, but Appleby has brought out my best qualities. During grade 9 and 10, I was a follower. I didn't want to be different than others or step outside of my comfort zone, which in reality is not the best way to go through our lives. When I transitioned to Appleby, I was able to come out of my shell and take a chance on applying for a leadership role, which is something I would have never done before coming here. With that being said, I owe getting athletics prefect to Miranda Lemus, who was Walker House prefect last year, my best friend, and arguably the most amazing human I've ever met. She encouraged me to take a chance on applying because I wouldn't regret it, and I could not be more thankful for that. Appleby has given me the education to prepare me for my next 4 years at Cornell. It has given me lifelong friends, a hockey team full of people I get to play my favorite sport with every day, and a leadership role in which I will take these skills learned with me and use them as I continue to grow. What I want you to take away from my speech today is you should not be scared of growth. Growth is about being your own person, taking risks or trying new things that may open up opportunities, and being able to find the positives in our lives. It enables us to mature, adapt, be dependable, approachable, capable, and brave. All very positive qualities that we should all strive to gain someday. Now would you please rise and sing hymn number 662, Trees of the Field.